Hi, this is Lakhi Singh, the property fixer, here to fix you and help you grow your property and your business affairs to the next level. So if you're looking for knowledge and insights about how to get involved in property, solve your problems about scalability in your property business, then do watch our 20-minute clips. We've taken them from hundreds and, well, thousands of videos that we've taken over the last 6 months, and we've broken them into simple chunks which can make them useful for you. So do watch and do subscribe to our YouTube channel underneath as well.
Good morning, United Kingdom. Good morning, Lakhi Singh, the property fixer. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good, I'm good. And what's the weather like there in United Kingdom?
It's rainy and a bit overcast, but nevertheless, a wonderful day ahead.
Excellent. Right, so we're in the middle of the week, as usual, after Tuesday and before Thursday. Looking at what the week has to offer, there's apparently an important debate going down with Mr. Trump and his rival on Friday. So it will be interesting to see what happens in the debate. Last debate, I think, was a bit of a sham. And in between that debate and recently, Mr. Trump went down with the virus. So this is the first debate they're actually having apparently on, I think it's a virtual debate, I think, maybe, or there may be a live audience, I'm not sure. Anyhow, talking about the saying of the week, invest in your future, grind now and smile later. That's that. And the topic again is, can you stop eviction in the present environment? So is it possible to stop an eviction whilst we have the pandemic and whilst people are somewhat in a flux? So, and we've also, lucky again, I'm sorry to forget to tell you, we've got Deborah Sophia, I hope that's her name, on this morning.
Deborah Sophia Magdalene, but may not have been able to fit it all into one sort of title sentence on the title underneath the videos. So
okay, so Deborah Sophia Magdalene sounds like somebody from a one of those fairy tale stories. So she's going to be on in a few minutes. We're going to give her a brief introduction, and then we're going to have her give her own introduction and a bit more information about her own life stories. It sounds very exotic compared to what Lakhi probably has been doing, and she apparently sold her assets and her property and everything and went away to live life in the South American Amazon, I think. And that's where she learned a lot about natural medicines and health and well-being, living in the jungle. So don't be surprised if you see her pull out one of those large pythons, because she's been living there, and I'm sure she's probably seen lots of those exotic snakes. So the question, Lakhi, is it possible to stop an eviction in the pandemic? Or is it that the system already is quite at loggerheads? There's lots of court cases have been left pending, and tenants were sitting in their properties, not leaving, and the landlords are probably more frustrated than tenants are. So what's the situation with eviction, Lakhi Singh, during the pandemic?
well, what's happening is in areas like Wales, there's a 6-month inability to evict because of COVID-19. The council's not allowing, the courts are not really giving in the favor of the landlord. So the landlord is now stuck with the sitting tenant. and there's a gentleman called Paul Champolina who's become very famous now for all his work with the TV program called I think Slum Landlords and tenants. I can't remember the name of the TV program, but there's a lot of updates that he's giving about what's happening in the market. So that's actually quite up to date on what's happening, but I don't really know exactly what's happening in terms of the eviction rules or the legal rules in England at the moment. But it seems to be a sort of moving feast. But I know for sure that a lot of landlords aren't able to get access to properties because of COVID-19. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a bit of a lock. I mean, it must be really damaging for the landlords. I mean, because they depend upon the rental incomes and the rental incomes that they use to pay off the lenders. I'm not sure whether the lenders are being that, flexible or laxed in their mortgage payments. Anyhow, the topic will continue, but for now, we've got somebody who's a breath of Amazon fresh air. She's different. Her background's different, probably not related to property, but for somebody to sell up everything and make tracks and leave the United Kingdom, leave the developed world, leave the comforts of a developed society and go to the jungle. Big ask, big issue. We'll find out why. Was it love or was it insanity? Can we have on the famous Deborah Sophia Magdalene? Is she here? Here you are. You've appeared from behind the button of the operator. How are you doing, Deborah?
Awesome. Really good. I must say, I'm not used to getting up when it's dark. I used to do that when I had a regular job, and now I sort of get up when the sun comes up.
All right. So, what would you compare yourself to in Amazon rainforest creature terms? What are you? Are you one of those nocturnal monkeys? What are you then?
I'm definitely nocturnal. Everybody has the peak time when, of working. Some people are morning people. So if they've got a deadline to meet, they get really, really early and do it. Some people get it done during the day. I'm a night owl, definitely. And that's my peak time. And that's when I can focus.
Okay, so you're an owl, so an Amazon rainforest owl. Are there any owls in the Amazon? We'll find out later. But she definitely is nocturnal. We'll find out about Deborah. So, Deborah, it's really, I would say I am in awe of your abilities. We are for the best of us who try or attempt to be material-less in our existence and say, oh, we don't really need that, and I don't need a car, or I don't need that. But really difficult for us. So we are creatures or beings of comfort. Now, for somebody sitting, where were you were you in the United Kingdom, Magdalene? With a name like Magdalene, I would assume you're probably Polish or Romanian. What are you? I was
born and bred in Burnley, up in Lancashire, up in the north of England.
That sounds exotic. Burnley, is that somewhere in between Europe and Ireland?
It's not far from Manchester.
Right, another famous exotic, Winslow Road, an exotic area for lots of people of different cultures. So you're basically from Burnley, as it would be said. So you're from Burnley. How did you, okay, tell us, what was it that made you leave those comforts in Burnley? And I assume you were in a good job. Were you an executive of some kind? Were you
business? Yeah, I was running
You're
my
not
own
decent.
business.
You're
So-
decent? What is it?
So what happened? We've got some background noise there. Can you hear properly?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. Just turn the volume down a bit, that's all. You'll be all right.
Let's try that.
Okay.
Right,
Yeah,
okay.
go on.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
That's better. So what happened was that, I mean, I sort of left, I was working as executive director at Burnley Enterprise Trust. So I had
That's what I
like
thought. Yes.
and then
Executive director.
yeah, and then I did Tony Robbins' life mastery program up in Scotland, and on that show, he said like it was actually one of his top trainers who was doing the training, a guy called Shaw Slocum, and he had a big impact on me. And he said, when you start to do what you truly want in this world, he said, like, doors will open for you, which wouldn't have opened had you not made that decision. He said, you've got to burn your bridges, like there's no going back, and then things will happen. And I thought, well, what am I on this world to do? And I knew that, like, you know, being in the business support industry, I loved it, but it wasn't my life calling. And my life calling is all about helping people and like helping them to raise a vibration. And so I went back to work, and we had a board meeting 2 days later, and I handed my notice in. And I said, right, guys, I said, I've made a decision. I'm going to start what I'm put on this earth to do. I'm going to set up my own business in coaching and training. And they all went, wow. And I thought, well, I've done it now. I'm saying, you know, that's it, no going back. And I gave them 9 months notice. And I ran my coaching and training business, which was called Global Hoax, because I was the director of Hoax, because my whole philosophy is about helping the excluded to feel included and reaching out to people that really need that physical contact, because everybody needs that physical contact. And so I ran my coaching and training business for a while, and I was doing Tony Robbins' Wealth Mastery Program as well at the time. And I went down to London, did his Wealth Mastery Program, and then realised that I needed to have like multiple streams of income. And I thought, how can I create another income? Because I'd gone through a divorce, bought my ex-husband out in the property, and so my expenses had doubled, the household income had halved, and it was tough financially. You know, I had 2 children living at home with me. And so did the Life Mastery Program. And when I came back, I had a leaflet behind the door saying, do you have a spare room in your house? I said, yeah. Would you like an extra income? Yeah. Can you offer support for homeless teenagers? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a youth coach as well. And so I started offering youth coaching, and young people would come and stay with me for up to 2 years. And then I had a coaching session with a man who said to me, he said, Deborah, where do you come on your list in terms of priority? And that made me really, really think. And I realised that I was putting everybody else before me. And that is
excellent. Excellent. So you were a selfless person, a bit of a Samaritan, a bit like Teresa or Mother Teresa in Burnley.
I won't say that.
Or rather, Mother Teresa, right? More like Mother Teresa in Burnley. Is that right?
Well, I did like helping people, but what I realised was that, you know, like I came way down my list. And so when I turned 50, what I did was I gave my children 6 months notice to leave home. They were 22 and 24 at the time. And I realised that all the time that they were living with me, they weren't going out into the world to learn their own life lessons. And I decided, my next door neighbour bought my house, so I didn't need to put it on the market. That was effortless. I got a good price for it. And I changed my name from my old married name, and I just said,
what year was this in? What year was it?
2011.
2000. So it's quite recent, really. It's not that far back. So it's literally straight after the last recession, and somewhere sort of like in no man's land of the developed world in terms of economies and all that, because everything is all up in the air. And in the middle of that, you decided to sell the house and give the kids notice. Excellent. So before I continue with that exciting story, Julie says, obviously the laws of eviction have changed somewhat in the United Kingdom or in England, and the stay on evictions is now lifted, so you can evict tenants, and obviously the notice periods have become longer, but we'll explain or understand that later on. We will try and get Julie on to give her wise words of wisdom in eviction. So, Lakhi Singh, could you do what Deborah did? Deborah Sophia Magdalene, could you do what she did? Could you sell the house, sell the fancy cars, sell the suits and everything, just buy a small a pair of underpants, really, get rid of the Superman or Lakhi Singh Fixer, t-shirt and the tights, get rid of the cape, and just fly out of the country on your holy solely and start life again in another part of the world? Could you do that? Is it possible?
I think it's easier said than done. I think because I've got elderly parents nearby, that'd probably be the only reason that'd probably stop me doing it. But there isn't really many other reasons that could hold me back from doing something that's going to be, uplifting your soul, I suppose.
Excellent. So, Deborah, did you have your parents around the corner as an excuse to stop you leaving for your dream?
That actually happened. What happened was when I first set off, I set off on a 2-month road trip around Europe. And when we were coming back in the car, I went with my partner at the time. And when we were coming back up the motorway from France, going to get the ferry, the car had an accident. It's like it simultaneously engaged 2 gears. I don't know how that is even possible, but the steering completely went. We veered across the motorway. The car went into a spin 3 times, and I just thought, wow, I could die here. And do you know what? I didn't have.
You actually thinking that way? Was it wow? I think I can die here, or was it more?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was wow. I could actually die here. And I just said, angels protection now. And the car came to an abrupt halt on the hard shoulder. And, the airbags went off and everything. And I thought, wow, what just happened? And when I came back to, the car was a write-off. The insurance company wouldn't cover it, because I don't know if you're aware of this, guys, but if your car has an accident, it's not covered on insurance if it's mechanical failure on the vehicle. So
excellent. Okay, new one to learn.
So
if it's a mechanical failure and you have an accident, so it's not an accident as in terms of a real accident where you bump in or someone bumps into you. Yeah. This is if your car mechanically fails, even though you've got an MOT.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the clauses of the insurance. They'll do anything to get out of paying you.
Okay.
When I came back to the UK,
you were on the motorway coming back from where? Yeah. Where were you coming from?
I was driving up from. I've been to the Champagne region of France. My friend lived there, and we've been to stay with her and had a tour of the Moët Chandon cellars, which was fascinating, and looking at the vineyards where all the champagne grapes are grown. Yeah, but it was at the end of a 2-month road trip, so I've been all over.
A 2-month road trip, you've come back, you're driving up. Is it your boyfriend or your partner at that time who's driving the car and he's Has
No,
he
I
gone
was
to the
driving.
airport to receive you, or has he come at Calais to take you out of the refugee camp? What happened? How did he pick you up?
No, it was my partner. It was my car. I was driving. He doesn't drive. So I had to
Okay.
do all the driving.
It would have been a bit difficult if he doesn't drive, because he wouldn't have been able to understand how to drive. You wouldn't have had the accent. That would probably been the right decision to take, giving him the car, because you wouldn't have been driving. But anyhow, you were driving, and when you were driving, the gear jammed, spun around. You said, "Wow, I could have died there." What happens next? What happened?